Hello everyone, you're listening to Analytics Insight. I am Priya Dayalani, Senior Editor at Analytics Insight and your host. Spring season has officially kickstarted with everything around being so pleasant. To add more fun to it, we have got one more podcast for you. Before wires and virtual networks transmitted communications, there were smoke signals, drums, and carrier pigeons. Fortunately, technology has come a long way since then to the point where it's impossible to overstate the significance of telecommunications technology to any business, especially as it relates to growing the capacity of small businesses. From telephones, television, internet, and the vast array of private networks, telecommunication technology is like a firm's central nervous system. Without it, a small business couldn't compete or survive in the nation's information service dependent economy, making it one of the most important investments you will make as you build your business. So, telecommunication technology has many roles, including transmitting information, improving efficiency and productivity, as well as helping your businesses expand. To emphasize more on the integration of technology in telecom industry, today with us we have Jennifer Hyland, CEO of Racol Technology Solutions Incorporation. Hi Jennifer, how are you doing?
I am fantastic, Priya. Thank you so much.
Great. It's a pleasure to have you with us on the podcast. So let's start with now. This is the first time that we're talking more about integration of technology in telecommunication industry. So it's I'm sure it's going to be more insightful and fun. So it's a very less explored industry, I feel, when you talk about technology. So can you tell us about more about Raycole Technology Solutions, the specialization and the services it offers?
Oh, absolutely. And Priya, I love your analogy of how there used to be carrier pigeons. It's definitely come a far way since then.
So
And
true.
it's very important, just like the roadways are for you to get from one point to another. People just
Hmm.
expect them to be there and expect them to be smooth, but there's a lot of infrastructure that's required to take care of that.
Definitely.
It's a great analogy. So basically, Racol Technology Solutions, it's a company founded on the premise that companies need someone on their side of the table to manage the huge list of vendor options and get the best services possible at the best price. So we work with medium to large businesses, some of them Fortune 500, to rid them of their headaches associated with procuring and managing all of these different telecom services. We have over 175 different vendors in our portfolio, so we really can offer the best of breed solutions to our clients. Although we tend to focus on data center and wide area network connectivity with diversity, we can also provide other services to meet all the clients' telecommunications needs, such as cloud services, voice services, billing audits on existing services, etc. So we can do this on a global scale as well, not just within the US. So it definitely helps us to grow and be able to provide it to the clients globally. For instance, if a client's moving their environment out of one of their current locations, I can help them vet out a large list of data center providers to fit their specific needs based on the over 20 years of industry experience that I have and the knowledge I've accumulated in those 20 years. We also review the different requirements for connectivity between the locations so we can determine the best overall solution based on cost, diversity, bandwidth, and any of the other requirements that come up during the discovery phase. We can bring on additional staff augmentation to support just for that particular project, which is usually very daunting and overwhelming for company staff. So the additional support we can offer is invaluable to them. The best part of what we do for these services is they're typically offered at no cost to the client because we've figured out since bringing these services to market, the providers actually compensate us at a cost of the sale. So they get all of these leveraged expertise at no additional cost, which really is a win-win. And clients love this model. They appreciate the decades of experience that we bring to the table and the fact that we act as a liaison on their behalf and an advocate so they get the best services at the lowest cost. So here's a personal example of why someone might want to do something like this. Let's say you buy a new home So, and you're looking to get a mortgage for your new home. Sure, you can go directly to one of the big banks and apply for a mortgage or go to multiple banks and compare their offerings. That's a tremendous amount of work. And you don't know if you're going to get the best solution or the best deal for your needs. Or you can go, which is what most people do, they go to a mortgage broker who has a large portfolio of options, and the broker will do all the work for you and present you with all of your solutions and get you the what's the best for your specific needs and help you through the whole process based on your requirements. So why would anyone want to go through all the work when they can simply leverage someone like myself to do all of that for them? So that's basically the premise of what we do here at Raycole.
That's very interesting. And I definitely love your model too, Jennifer. I mean, it's something so nice. And when you're getting such services, some high level and extraordinary services, especially at such very affordable prices. So it's quite interesting. And I'm sure your customers, your clients have been loving this model too. Um, Great. So, when we're talking about telecommunication, so the most important role of telecommunication is fulfilling the basic purpose of transmitting data. The technology includes probably like telephone or video conferencing, or maybe interactive television, email, distributed electronic collaboration, internet-based communication, etc., etc. So it transmits and stores your intellectual property, and it also comprises the means through which you connect to your partners, suppliers, or for that matter, even your customers.
Mhm.
Having said that, what do you think, or what triggered the birth of a Raycole Technologies?
So it's interesting to watch all of that, and it's correct. This is how businesses are going to be able to transmit everything that's within the core of their company. So after working for major telecommunications providers for over 17 years, I decided it was time to branch out on my own. At the time, on a personal perspective, I had two little children, and I was working full time in Manhattan for a major telecommunications provider and commuting back and forth an hour and a half each way every day. So I wanted a better work life balance, and I had developed such a huge knowledge set over the years that I said it's time to start out on my own. And that's when I decided to jump off a cliff basically and start my own company to get that flexible work life balance. And I haven't looked back. I had a little bit of a window there where I could start this and build up my business before my kids were going to college. And I'll never forget how nerve wracking that was. The day I resigned from my job, I walked down the block and signed a contract to bring on over 100 new vendors from day one right into my portfolio. It was exciting and extremely nerve wracking all at the same time. So then I started networking and put my plan right into action right away. And it was a good 18 months before I could stop dipping into my savings and really start to see my business grow. And now I no longer work in my home office. I now have my own office. Lori works with me. She's amazing. She's my VP of Sales and Operations. So that's really how we started to grow and why I developed the company. So it's also, I'm able to now offer my clients what is best for them based on all of the different offerings that we have available. So I can focus on their needs instead of one particular company's offerings because that's the company that I was specifically working for. So now my options really are limitless to provide them the efficiency and the services, like you said, for the backbone of all of their data, whether it's video, TV, emails, et cetera. It all needs to get transferred from point A to point B, or else you're not able to communicate.
Well, I think people have rightly said that leaders lead by example. I think you are one such example because it's really not easy to quit your job and start something new, and especially when you have been working for around 17 years in one particular industry. And jumping off the cliff is definitely not an easy task. Well, before I move on to next question, I just want to ask one personal question, Jennifer, and that is, how did it feel for you when you took the decision of jumping off the cliff and okay, now I want to start something of my own, and I just want to quit my job. What was the energy, or what was the feeling that you went through? Just a gist if you can give.
Yes, it was. It bounced back and forth between a tremendous amount of excitement because this was a new chapter in my life and I knew that I had the skill sets for it. Yet there was that underlying fear that I had to overcome and continue to remind myself, I can do this. I know I can do this. So it took time. It was not a very easy task, yet once I started to see the momentum and really keep focusing on my vision, it was the best decision I ever made. So it's not for the lighthearted, yet it's definitely worth it.
I'm so glad you took that decision, Jennifer, and hence, Raycole Technology Solutions is able to help so many of its clients and customers and delivering value-added services. Okay, we are hearing a lot of buzzword, and that is digital transformation. Well, I believe that the telecommunication industry is at the forefront of the digital transformation. This industry has been making a huge shift in terms of technologies, and the emergence of these digital transformation technology allow millions of people around the world to experience new ways of accessing information, and as well as carrying out the interaction and communication, which is said to have a long term implications in the human lifestyle. So can you tell us how Racol is different from other companies that provide telecom services?
No, absolutely. Raycole is not a typical telecommunications consulting company that offers manages service directly from employees in the house, because we don't provide the actual services, most of the actual services themselves, but we do rely on a myriad of vendors that we bring in to provide the services directly to the clients. So we'll act as a partner or a broker, as some people may call it, to help the clients procure the services and act as an advocate on their behalf. So what this does, it allows me to provide the best of breed services to the clients based on their specific requirements. I can pull in multiple vendors instead of just providing a limited amount of services. So this, what makes it a little bit different is it also allows the clients to focus on their core competencies within their business instead of the proverbial headaches associated with all the telecom services that they need to procure. Uh, I also take much more of a white glove approach towards my clients. I think one of the worst phrases I've ever heard in my career is when somebody says, "That's not my job." That's something that nobody will ever hear out of my mouth. I don't know everything about all the services, nor will I ever claim to know everything about all the services. I think that's physically impossible based on the limitations of our brain. But I'll find the answer for the clients and I'll take care of it. I won't leave them scrambling on their own. I also take a deeper personal approach towards my clients. I find that something that's really missing in many companies today is the personal touch. Most companies are either looking at their employees or their clients as basically some type of number, and or what type of quota they're going to get over the month. And I refuse to take that approach. And I've known my clients for many years, and I have a long-term approach to my clients. I want them to be there throughout my career, and I want to be there throughout their career. I usually know about their families, even how many children they have, and what their goals are, personal and professional. I think it's important to touch into the human aspect of this industry and try to listen without interruption. So hear them And it's amazing what you can find out by asking some very simple questions and leave it as an open ended response. Uh, Also, something on a personal level, I have this innate desire to fix things. I don't know what it is, it's just a part of my personality. If someone has a problem, I like to fix it. And I think that's really helped me develop the company as well, because it helps me develop creative solutions to fix the client's needs based on all the information I was able to gather by listening. It could be something as simple as a new payment term in a contract because their accounts payable department takes longer than 30 days to process payments. Or it could be developing a full blown global diverse network to multiple locations to support all of their voice and data requirements. So that's how we differentiate ourselves from other companies out there.
Well, I think fixing problems is one such weird habit that even I share. And, unless and until you really don't fix a problem, you can't focus on other things. It's just, I really need to solve this problem. Hey, yes, okay, you have a problem. Yeah, okay, I'm here to solve. Yeah, just
Right.
shoot. I'm here.
It's so
Okay.
true.
Definitely. And also, I very much like the fact that highlighting that how it's important to have personalized connection with your customers is a need of the hour. I feel it's how you can understand your customers better, their pain points, and how you can then tailor made your services to them so that it actually helps them and actually helps their core competencies and not just the issues probably they are solving and not surfacing on their issues. Well, moving ahead, there are a lot of technologies that have come up, and Internet of Things is one such that comes with the concept that every device should be electronically integrated and interconnected. So, hence, a lot of telecom operators are now using digital platforms that can combine the connectivity, analysis, cloud, mobile, security to support business, and all these factors help generate greater revenue. So apart from probably Internet of Things, can you brief us about what technologies do you use to provide cutting edge telecom services?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the more cutting edge telecom services that we currently offer is touches actually onto the Internet of Things, like you mentioned. So we offer a comprehensive review of the all the cloud based services that a company is leveraging for the Internet of Things, for instance. So they're using AWS, GCP as a couple of examples. And because everybody was in such a rush to offer all of these things, they may not have managed it very well along the way in the most cost effective way. So we're able to leverage some internal cutting edge services to come in and take a look at all of those cloud based offerings, AWS, GCP, et cetera, and how they're leveraging it. What do they have stored in the cloud? How are they retrieving information from it? And give them a more cost effective solution to meet their needs. Typically, this can save the client about 40% off of their services, which is a huge amount of OPEX out of their budget that they can leverage towards profit making information instead of the underlying infrastructure. We also have a tool that we use to determine all of the different telecommunications providers based on their specific locations. So at the click of a button, we can determine all the fiber in an area, what companies are in the area, and then we can get pricing back within minutes. So we can take all that information, compile it, review it with the client, and determine where we want to focus our efforts and drill down into specific details for their solution. So all of the cutting edge telecom in the background to provide all of that is how we're able to offer the white glove services for our customers.
I think it was quite impressive, Jennifer. Thank you for giving us such a comprehensive brief of what different technologies you use. Now, since we're talking about technologies, like Internet of Things, edge computing, artificial intelligence, all these are maturing together. And 5G, which is a new buzzword, I would say, is set to be a game changer for the telecom industry and is expected to yield enormous economic opportunities for the coming 3 to 5 years, I believe. So 5G is set to disrupt Industry 4.0, powering machine to machine communication and demand driven supply chains. The adoption of 5G will be a compelling proposition with benefits like lower latency, higher capacity, increased bandwidth, and much more. So, when we're talking about 5G and the advent of 5G, how do you think that will create an impact on Raycole Technology Solutions?
It has definitely a big impact on that. And like you had said, 5G uh, alleviates many issues in coverage and latency. And now we're able to leverage wireless services better to handle all of the back end telecommunications for companies. So it's a great product enhancement for what I offer my clients. Many times they'll have remote locations where it's difficult to get your traditional telecommunications fiber services there. So 5G is either a great solution as a primary, or it can also be a great backup solution. And it's a very cost effective one for them now. Whereas years ago, they couldn't get a backup solution there, or they had to leverage some type of satellite solution, which is a ridiculous latency and extremely expensive. So wireless services years ago were they just weren't viable, and purely because the speed wasn't there, the billing structure wasn't there, so it wasn't set up for real data usage. It was really set up for more voice. But now 5G is definitely set up for data, and it's the reliability and the speed of the services that really makes it viable. So I think we're about 1 to 2 years away from seeing the true impacts of 5G and what it will do to the offerings and how companies are thinking about their telecommunication services and how we're really able to leverage it within the company's environment. So for now, it's a perfect backup. It's starting to emerge in the market at a fast pace, and it's a great addition in today for cellular services to really make them faster and more reliable, depending on the location.
Definitely, I completely agree with you, Jennifer, that yes, 5G is quite disruptive. But when it comes to integration of 5G in probably your products or services isn't as easy as it sounds. Of course, a
Mhm.
different set of challenges while we'll be facing with the integration of 5G. But nevertheless, I think 5G will soon become a primary and an underlying infrastructure for a lot of telecom services, definitely.
Mhm.
Um,
Absolutely.
so since we're talking about telecom sector, digitization offers telecom industry an opportunity to reconstruct their market position or recreate their business systems and produce innovative offerings for customers. Now, today, more and more operators are focusing on improving the engagement with users. And telecom operators are already adopting automation technologies, a multi-channel approach, and personalization services to create a great customer experience. Now, this also improves asset utilization. Having said that, can you share me your point of view or your perspective on the current scenario of the telecom industry?
Yeah, it's definitely changed. People expect everything to be constantly on, constantly available, and there's a big personalized approach to how we're offering services for their product sets. And it's just changed so much over the past 20 years since I've been working in the telecommunications. I remember when a BRI ISDN line was considered very high speed, and now the services in our home are 10 times faster than that. So, and it's also become such a commoditized industry over the years. So now you can get a 1 gig internet service for almost the same price as you paid for 1 meg internet service 15 years ago. So the current scenario is the equipment within the customer's environment starts to become the limiting factor and not the underlying telecommunications network. That's why major telecommunications providers have started to branch out into different products, such as professional services, to assist clients because they can't just rely on selling them the underlying network anymore. They can't survive. Also, there's so many things right now in the data center or some cloud-based environment that the need for bandwidth all the time, everywhere, has dramatically increased over the years. So something needs to support all of these personalized services and advanced intelligence services. And the companies are now looking at bigger bandwidth to support this. And it needs to be always available. Outages are not really an option anymore because nobody has patience for them. The pandemic's also dramatically changed how companies are looking at their traditional services. So for it's over a year now, employees have been working. They haven't been working in an office environment. So they can't leverage their centralized systems anymore. It's dispersed. The employees are now working mostly out of their homes on a desktop or a laptop. And it's forced companies to rethink how they're doing their internal corporate infrastructure. It'll be interesting to see what happens over the next 12 to 24 months and whether a majority of the employees go back to the office environment or companies going to allow them to continue to work remotely because that's how we've been functioning this past year. My prediction is only about a half the employees will go back full time to an office environment within the next 12 months. So it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. And that will change how the corporate infrastructures unfold in the telecommunications and what services they'll have to offer. Clients are also even more focused on cybersecurity than ever, especially with these remote workers, as they should. When customers don't want to focus on cybersecurity because they have other priorities, here's the analogy I give. You probably live in a nice neighborhood, but don't you still have locks on your front door? And do you have a video doorbell to see who's ringing before you open the door? Do you have locks on your bedroom door or a safe in your house? Do you have homeowners insurance? Why would you have all that in your home in a nice neighborhood, yet you put your computer systems exposed to every possible criminal in the world without some type of security? So, and I'm focusing on cybersecurity. You can kind of equate that to leaving your front door open and opening the door before you even see who's knocking. So it's not a very good image, is it? So it really drives home why people need to focus on cybersecurity, especially in this environment.
Definitely, I think I couldn't agree more with you that cybersecurity is something that is presenting a huge challenge for everyone today, not just for entrepreneurs or for leaders, for everyone who is constantly on their laptops or mobile phones talking, because communication has become such a core and central aspect of everyone's life that we are on our emails, talking through emails, messengers, social media platforms, and hackers are always getting more and more platforms to of course exploit us. So I think yes, that's going to be a major challenge when we're talking about it. Since we are already on those lines of facing challenges, and cybersecurity is one such. So there are a lot of people I've heard saying that you can never predict and anticipate what will you face when communications and telecommunication providers are involved. I'm not sure why I've been hearing this, but technology continues to change and refresh every day. The needs and therefore of the developments and adaptations of companies are always changing. So one such thing is, besides that, you no longer have to spend many weeks maintaining the community and your voice data system. So can you tell us about the challenges that you faced or initial journey of Racol Technologies, the set of challenges it faced?
Oh, absolutely. And you're correct. It's ever changing. You don't know what's going to come at you. I almost think of it sometimes as a game of dodgeball. So you're in the gym as a kid and you have all these people throwing the dodgeballs at you, and once in a while one hits you in the head and you need to recover from it. So You're always evolving and building a business from scratch and convincing clients why they should secure their services through you is not an easy task. My skill set's always been medium to large businesses, so I guess that put an additional challenge on me in the beginning. That's why it took me over 18 months to finally get to a point where I wasn't watching my personal savings decline. It was a huge learning experience for me. I knew the telecommunication services very well. That was industry experience I had developed, but I didn't know the partner side of the business very well. So I had to learn which providers would be the best fit for my business and how to bring them on and negotiate the contracts with them. And then I finally came to a point where I'm comfortable with my vendor portfolio. And I'm always learning. There's new things coming out there all the time, and you need to be flexible enough to prepare for that, and you can overcome the challenges. And making a decision to finally move out of my office into my home, out of my home into my office, that was a big challenge. At first, it was difficult to justify the expense, but now I realize it was the best thing I ever did. And then I was able to find the right person to work for me was also a major challenge. I have Lori on my team as the VP of Sales and Operations, and she is just crucial for my success. So she's there with me every step of the way and helps keep everything together as far as my business is concerned. And she also focuses with me on my vision of wanting to make Racol Technology Solutions different than my competitors by using that white glove personal approach towards my clients and just not considering them another number. We genuinely care about our clients, and it shows in everything we do. And that can be challenging because this is a fast-paced environment. And to slow it down for a moment, to really think about the human aspect of what you're doing, it's not easy. You have to remember the challenges when you add in that human component. It's not just machine to machine. Somebody is driving it behind it, and there's a human reason why we're doing all of this.
Well, definitely, it's quite like rightly said that two heads think better than one, and having a wonderful team is definitely a plus point that can help you in serving your customers better. Now, arguably, the greatest contribution of telecommunication technology is it's empowering firms to reach out to more customers with fewer resources and manpower. Like online credit card processing with phone payments, virtual meetings, remote monitoring. So, even basic home and network security monitoring are the examples of how your firm can service your clients. So, how do you see the industry ahead in the future, and what, according to you, are the technologies that will play a major role in the future?
Yeah, Pri, you touched on a fantastic point. It's how the phone can service the client. So we do everything with that handheld device nowadays. I can't even imagine not being able to deposit a check or make a transfer payment without my banking app, or being able to Venmo somebody money, or whatever it is, all from my handheld device. It makes us do anything, anywhere, anytime. So those cutting edge technologies are important. There's some legacy technologies that will always remain. We'll still need some point to point fibers between the locations so we can all communicate together over this worldwide network. However, automation and cybersecurity are a huge growth in this early past and near future. We have a workforce that's already overloaded. Automation is playing a key role on how we're carrying out various tasks internally in the business to be completed without all the human intervention. We wouldn't be able to survive in this type of environment without all the automation behind it. And it's very difficult to integrate some of those cutting edge technologies with some of the more legacy systems that clients may have. For instance, if a client has been in business for 10 years or more, that's a whole lifetime of changes. And they want to leverage some of these new cloud based services. But then the challenge becomes How do I seamlessly move some of these services from a premise-based environment that I've had all these years into a cloud-based environment to leverage more of the Internet of Things and the flexibility that we're looking for? Many clients have forklifted environments out into some type of cloud based services, but now they're starting to realize that there is some type of hybrid solution that might be able to best suit their needs. They don't need everything in the cloud. Some of it is best served with that premise based solution and leverage more cloud services for those Internet of Things and things like that, or some type of other processing power that they may need.
Definitely, your experiences, challenges, achievements, of course, frame your point of view towards the industry. But having said that, Jennifer, one last question. What would be your advice to young and budding leaders?
It's a great question. Just
Mm-hmm.
envision what you want and always think of that vision. So live it, breathe it, make it happen. Little habits each day towards achieving that vision. Think of what goals you have. And I even say this to my kids. So, FAIL is just an acronym for first attempt in learning. Don't ever be afraid to fail. That just means you tried something new, you learned from it, and you'll grow from it. So it's also extremely important to stay positive, especially in today's environment. Be interesting. People naturally gravitate towards those who are interesting. And you'll probably notice a huge change when you actually keep that in mind. You can simply ask yourself, what makes me interesting? Is it a new technology that I've developed? Is it new growth in your business that you want to portray out? Is it your bubbly presence because you wear pink because everybody else is wearing gray? Or is it like this, even doing a podcast for the first time and overcoming your fear of doing something new? Uh, so it's be your own advocate, and but yet be grateful and express the gratitude. People like to be a part of that. And don't be afraid to get a coach. I meet every 2 weeks with my personal and professional coach, Karen Garvey, and it is essential to my overall state of mind and motivation. I've been able to leverage the tools she provided, and I've noticed a massive difference in both my personal and professional life. She actually told me something that resonated and is very interesting. It resonated with me and is very interesting. She said, the quote unquote, the universe is kind. So there'll be some challenging things along the way that will help you, but they help you bounce up to a higher plane to live a happier life and be more successful. So keep an eye out. It's amazing how the universe unfolds and actually provides those opportunities to you. And just believe in yourself. As a budding leader, you're going to get many people giving you advice and telling you how you should, quote unquote, should run your business. You know in your gut what your vision is, and you know in your gut how you want to proceed. Filter through the advice. Take what you believe is important to you to help you grow, and then just follow your gut. When I just started to be myself instead of who I thought I should be, I noticed a huge difference in my business and my growth. What you put out in the universe is what you get back, whether it's positive or negative. That's what's going to bounce back to you. So if you tell yourself you can't, you won't. If you tell yourself you can, you will. So don't let fear limit you, and don't let it hold you back. Just break through that glass ceiling and you have the confidence you know you can do it.
Well, that was quite inspiring, Jennifer, and I'm sure our budding leaders are going to feel motivated after listening to this because I personally am right now. Um, while enterprises will lead the implementation of 5G technology, governments would need to set industry specific regulations to ensure that the devices and networks are well secured to mitigate digital and cyber risks across the ecosystem. 5G will definitely require a high level of collaboration and partnership, and this interconnected ecosystem is set to provide significant opportunities for telecoms across the value chain and spur the adoption of lighter and effective business operating models. Well, thank you so much, Jennifer, for taking out time and being on our podcast. It was a pleasure having you with us. It was a really light-hearted and fun podcast with you, definitely. And I'm hoping that our users and our listeners will love this podcast.